You can see right here that it has actually cracked the coil. Hey y'all, thanks for tuning back into Chickanic. I hope everybody's having a great week. Today we are going to go over one of the most common problems I see that customers bring into the shop whenever they try to change out their own plug. And the way they're making these plug boots anymore, they're so tight on the spark plugs that they go to wrenching on them, and if they pull straight out, they will pull that plug boot straight off their ignition wire and not know how to put it back on. So today we're going to go over how simple it is to put it back together all by yourself to save you time, money, and frustration in the future. But before we get into today's video, if you're a fan of saving time, money, and frustration while fixing your own small engine equipment while watching in-depth tutorials, you've come to the right place because that's what I do. I upload a couple times a week, and if that sounds interesting, hit that like button, smash that subscribe, hit the notification bell, and don't forget to leave a comment. I love to read through the comments, and I will respond to all the early commenters. All right, so I got a hot mess of a trimmer sitting here on my bench. This thing has been run through the ringer. It is only about a year old, but the commercial customer that uses it every single day, he wants to get it fixed because it's one of his favorite trimmers. So this is a Shindaiwa T262, and it has just been beaten up, and it's got a story all to itself. It's got broken shrouds, broken flywheel, broken coil. So while I'm changing this coil out, I received my OEM coil, but it does not come with a boot on it. So I thought this would be a really good time to go ahead and make a video dedicated to putting a plug boot on, because I said I was going to do it a long time ago, didn't get around to it. And then after I show how to put that plug boot on, I'm going to put this whole thing together, and we're going to see how good it runs. All right, so the majority of the time when you rip your plug boot off, it's going to look something like this, where you're going to have just a short little stub of the ignition wire hanging out. And that's really not much to work with. I mean, you can get it back together that way, but a lot of time it's not fun. The easiest thing to do is to remove some shroud that's covering it. It's real simple to do usually, and it'll give you more of a line to be able to work with. Rule number one, do not cut on your ignition wire. We're just going to put it back together and it's going to be fine. Do not trim on it because this is the perfect length for what application it is used for. So do not cut it, do not make it any shorter. Now yours is going to already have a hole in the side of it where this little metal piece went into it. So we're going to have to find out, is the metal piece still in it or is it in your boot? If it's in your boot, you're going to have to remove it. All right, not gonna lie, this is not a fun part. Sometimes it's stuck in there. A lot of times you'll have a large hole here where it's easier to get out. Sometimes it's real small like this one. This one has it poaching out the end here. So I'm gonna try to come back out out of the larger hole instead of going this way, because that spiral inside is sometimes really tough to get through here. So first I'm gonna go on the inside with my needle nose, see if I can grab it. I might destroy this thing taking it apart. It does not want to come out that hole. So we're going to try to go the other way. See if I can grab it. Oh yeah, that stuck it right back where it's supposed to be, but I got to get it out of there. So now y'all are watching. Is she gonna poke herself? Yeah, probably gonna poke myself. Oh, come on. We've got it. Now it's grabbing on the inside, sort of, so that sort of sucks. There it is. Now we got our needle nose. We're just gonna keep, success. You just gotta dig it out of there, and it sucks, but you can do it. All right, so yours will already have a hole for this little metal piece to go in, but you might have to make a new hole because sometimes it'll be wallered out. Now I'm going to go ahead and make a new hole in this new coil because I don't have one in it to actually put it in, but I've already taken my heat barrier off. I'm gonna put that on there. Also this little grommet that needs to go on there. And that way, do that. Then we're gonna make a hole. Now you wanna go back as far as you think you need to on here. So I've got, it's gonna need to be about that far. So I'm gonna make a hole about right there. So I find something pointy, go right down the center of it, and make a new hole. And hopefully you won't have to make a hole on yours, but now there is a special tool for this. I don't have one. I just like to use the dental picks. All right, before we put our metal spark plug spring thing, I don't know the official name for this, but anyways, before we put that back on, we're going to want to replace our boot back on, because we're going to slide the boot back over it because it's really hard to get this part into this particular one because the hole is so small. So you can go backwards at it and put this on first and then slide the boot on, but this one I've got to go backwards. So now we're going to lube it up. Lots of lube. We want to make it slide on really easy. We're going to put a little bit in our boot. And we're just going to get it on up there. Now, once we have it up there, you can actually see it poking out this large hole. You're going to want to grab your needle nose and pull it all the way through. Just like that. All right, so now we've got our hole right here. We're gonna put this part in, get it started. Once you get it started, go in more with your needle nose, and it's in a pretty good place. Now, once it's in, we can slide the boot back over this metal piece. So I'm going to go this way, and I really want to keep it together because I don't want it to slide apart and have to do it again. So I'm going to hold down on it while it's going over here, because it does have this 90 in it that sometimes will kink it and make it pop out, and that gets annoying, but it does happen, and it might happen here. I don't know. We'll see. We hope not. So I'm putting some pressure on it so it doesn't do that to me, and it did it to me. Let's do it again. All right, we're back to where we were. And I'd love to say this happens perfectly on the first time and be like, yeah, I'm that awesome, but it doesn't. And it's not gonna probably happen for you either. So I wanna be realistic about it. I mean, things don't always go as planned. So we're going to try again. Maybe hold on to it this way. I'm gonna push it down. Stay in your hole, stay in your hole. Maybe if I put some pressure on it this way. Oh. We got it. It's in. Second time's a charm. All right, I'm trying to get a good angle for you to see. You're gonna make sure that that spring is perfectly, you know, sitting down flush round where it's gonna go over your spark plug tip just fine. So make sure it's all lined up and you're good to go. All right, so we've got it all put back together, and you can put it right back on your spark plug. But like I said before, I don't know what they're doing to these boots and these springs anymore. They've made it so difficult to get off the plug. Just be careful in the future. Make sure you don't go pulling this way, twist a whole bunch. Make sure you loosen it up. Sometimes I've got to get a flat head under there to actually pry it up just a little bit because I don't want to have this issue. So hopefully this will save you some time, money, and frustration in the future. Now let me tell you about this trimmer. So my commercial customer comes in a few weeks ago and he wants a spark plug and an air filter for his Shindaiwa T262. He loves this trimmer. He uses it every day. It's only a year old, but it has been beaten up and mangled. He wanted me to order him a muffler cover and an air filter cover because he just wanted to make it pretty again. So I wrote those parts down and sold him the air filter and spark plug. He put them in right here on the counter. He takes it outside and immediately destroyed his trimmer. Now, because of him not checking his screws over time and letting it get so beat up, one of his screws had come loose. And when it did, it fell inside of his trimmer. And what happens is when you have a screw come loose and fall inside of one of your units, and it doesn't have to be a trimmer, it can be anything, your flywheel inside has a magnet on it. And what happens? That screw won't come out because it will be stuck to your flywheel. As soon as you start it up though, it's going to rub against your coil and it's going to end up somewhere not nice. Well, it broke all the teeth off of his flywheel. He brought it back into the shop and he walks to the middle of the floor, turns his trimmer over, and all the pieces of his flywheel fell out into my floor. So, took off the shaft, removed the clutch, removed the flywheel to find, you know, we knew that that was messed up since all the pieces of it had fallen off. But then looking further, he actually broke the coil. Let me get in and let you see this a little closer. You can see right here that it has actually cracked the coil and the metal part right here. So I gave him a price and he wants to fix it. So I got all new parts. I'm gonna fix it real quick. All right, so first things first, remove the old coil. Now you are gonna wanna be careful when you take this off because you've got this little metal bracket that we're going to need to put on the new coil. And we have 2 spacers, and these are very important and they will fall down and you will not see that they're there. So pay attention because they're just sitting there. So we need those spacers. So next we're going to put our new coil on. I'm gonna put those in there, put the spacers on. And line those up, start screwing in. And we're not going to tighten that down yet because we do have to set our coil gap before we are finished. So next we're going to put our new flywheel on. The flywheel key is in the crankshaft. It is not built into the flywheel, so that's good. We're going to make sure to line that up. We have our nuts, we gotta put that down, and we are going to have to stop the piston, and it is righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So I'm gonna get my piston stop and put it in the cylinder so we can tighten this flywheel up. Anytime you're using a piston stop, make sure, and you're going to tighten something down, make sure that it's already all the way as far as it can be over. Now on this one, actually, I'm gonna have to remove the rewind because it is pulling against that. So I'm gonna take the rewind off a little bit. Oh, secret bolt. It's got a secret bolt down in the bottom. We're just gonna remove that for a second so we make sure that we don't have any tension on there. We're not gonna destroy our rewind as we're doing this. So all right, we are on there. Now we can check our gap on our coil. All right, we've removed the piston stop, so this will spin freely now. Make sure our rewind's not messing with this because it is. Get it back in your hole. Okay, so this will spin freely now. We're going to stick a business card in between the coil and the flywheel, and we're going to turn it until the magnets line up and then it's snug magnetized to the flywheel. So then we're able to tighten down our ignition module bolts. Get those good and snug. Now we can remove that. And we've got good clearance. All right, I'm gonna put my rewind back on. Now that I got those on, I can put my clutch back on. So it does have wave washers. Now when I took them off, I made sure to notice which way the wave washer was. So I'm gonna put that back into place. And this one right here on the other side, it has 2 more washers, just flat washers that go against the flywheel. And we're just going to start them a little bit. All right, now that we have our clutch put back on, we can put our clutch housing back on and our shafts. Now this piece will have to go on by itself before you put the plastic cover on because there's actually 2 bolts that get covered up whenever you put this on, so 1 or 2 bolts. So, all right, get this hidden one in here. Oop. This one on this side. Let's get them attached to the coil first. What do we got? back up and get it to stick back down. You can notice this line right here, that's where it needs to go. So we're gonna keep turning it, and there it goes. And you wanna line it all up straight before we tighten this one down that holds it in there. All right, now for the money shot, let's see if it's gonna run. I'm gonna prime it up, put it on choke, make sure that it's turned on. Popped off, we got fire. Sounds good. Hopefully this video will save you time, money, and frustration in the future. If you haven't found us on Facebook yet, find us at facebook.com/Chickanic. Find us at Instagram at The Real Chickanic, or find us at our website at Chickanic.com. Thanks, and have a great day.